Dazzle,
Hi, Luke. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Um, tired today.
Already? It's only 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm in Dubai. It's 1 o'clock here.
Ah, fair enough. You're in Dubai. Okay, fair enough.
Dubai is 1 o'clock here.
How can I help you, my friend?
Look, I've been following you for a while.
Hmm.
Um, I've gone through the process of, oh, sorry, I've been out of the country for about since 2012. I've been out of the UK.
Hmm.
I work in football,
Cool.
and essentially, football's very volatile in terms of a career. It's lovely, it's great. I'm not gonna essentially leave it. I'm not like dissatisfied with my work that I do. I like it, I
No,
enjoy it.
football's great.
But essentially I'm trying to have a little bit more control in my life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Um, I've read a few books,
Hmm.
taken some action in terms of I purchased my first home. I can't remember how long ago, a few years ago anyway.
Hmm.
Said buy to let, but being an expat, about
Yeah.
to pay a bit more in terms of deposits and all the rest of it.
Sure.
Looking at the amount of money that I've put into the property just for it to sit there
Hmm.
and like a couple £100, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say I'm like a heavy investor in anything, but I've
Yeah.
got in more like stocks and shares here
Yeah.
and done the other things.
Hmm.
I'm looking at the amount of money that I put into that one house
Hmm.
in comparison to the small amount of money I put in other things. I'm like, I should have just put all that money there. I know you have to diversify and all the rest of it, but I should just put all that money there and I'd have been in a much
Yeah.
better stable position. I'm fine, but I'll be in a
Yeah.
much better position I would have been
I understand.
put money in that one house.
Hmm.
Um, I Yeah, so I've been following your stuff, you on the board and all the rest of it. And me and my wife, we were like, okay, let's try a different, approach, different vehicle
Sure.
to try and, have more control in terms of over our finances and stuff like that. So
Sure.
yeah, that's why
Cool.
I'm here.
Cool. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. I don't think it's necessarily a bad decision that you made to buy a home. Was it a residential that you turned into a buy to let, or was it a buy to let
Yeah,
straight
this
away?
this standard, literally bought a
Yeah,
house in our town, because
like most
you know
people do.
when you're abroad, you're like, okay, I need to make sure I've got something just in case it all goes wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Of course. Like I,
So we bought one of those little two up, two down business, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
expensive.
it's in Bristol, yeah, so it's not cheap.
Okay, yeah. Bristol is just still that just on the cusp of England when you before you go into Wales, right? So
Yeah,
you're still
exactly,
paying England prices in Bristol.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But
We
I
we did
mean,
we did. Sorry, go on.
you could look to refinance at some point and pull some money out of it.
Yeah, we will do that at
Mhm.
some point. But we just got told we need to get a new roof yesterday.
Ooh,
So that's never what 8 to 12,000 gonna go on a new roof.
that's never a nice call to
So
get.
yeah, we're pretty like okay, so we've taken on all this responsibility
Yeah,
to put on a
yeah,
new roof.
yeah, yeah.
Let's
I
just
hear
give that
you.
responsibility. And to
I
be
hear
fair,
you.
that's not the reason. Cool. I
No,
found that out in the call, but
yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's all part of the process. You know, we've all had to reinvest back into our properties, right? Like even like my residential's in Wales, and I've had to buy a new boiler and things like that. And at times, couple grand. It's not 12 grand, but
Yeah.
still. Um, I think I think the benefit that I guess the what makes it worthwhile for me is that I use like the skills I've learned in the rent to rent business to rent my houses out like kind of like hybrid, almost like Airbnbs almost, or if I'm renting them to traditional tenants, I'll furnish them and try and find like doctors, nurses who will pay me a bit more than your average so that I'm not just making £200-300 a month. Try and make it like a bit more than that, so that when I do take a loss or a hit, I've kind of been making the cash flow so it can kind of pay for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
Um,
that.
but I mean, that's definitely something I could help you with for sure.
So
Um,
I noticed you do a lot of stuff in Wales. Because
mhm.
to be fair, that's one of the reasons why is because we were obviously from Bristol. I used to work for Wales,
You
so
sure?
I know a little bit. I don't know no
Sure.
language. I don't do none of that. And yeah, like Wales was, especially when they was doing the tolls for Newport and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It was like, oh, we should go there. We should do something there. We
yeah,
should do
yeah,
something. Didn't end up in the end because we were like, let's just do Bristol because we know it and let's just
yeah.
have some.
Of course, it makes sense,
Yeah.
and you will get great appreciation in Bristol. Like, it's still a great place to invest. It's a thriving area. Over the long
Mm,
term, you're still going to work out quids in, you know.
mm,
But yeah, Wales is obviously a bit cheaper for me. I'm in South London. That's where I was born and raised, and that just 400 grand, 500 grand for a house around here, right? So that's why I chose to start down there.
mm.
I built my rent to rent business down there initially in Newport, and then I started buying properties like in the valleys, which is like 20 miles away from there, which is even cheaper, right? 50 grand
Yeah.
houses, 100 grand houses, things like that. So great opportunity there for sure. Not too far from where you're based originally. So yeah,
Mm.
makes sense. So what's the goal then? What's the goal you're thinking, Dazzle? Like I know you mentioned you want to replace or try and have more income streams and be more financially sort of secure, but where do you want to be in 6 months' time? Like what do you vision in your mind when you speak to the missus and where do you want to be?
We've sat down, we've spoken about this a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think it was a few days ago, we're like, look, let's just action something,
Yeah,
give it a proper go,
yeah,
and see essentially where we land, where we end up.
cool.
Um, it's probably the best time for us to kind of do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So it's weird, like, we we well, not you, but we work and we're like, we need to get, this amount of money in the bank and make sure we're stable to
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
extent. And then you get to that point and you're like, okay, it feels good that it's there,
Yeah, yeah, of
but
course.
it's not doing anything. Like we've actually already got like a property business account. We've had it for like 2 years.
Okay, cool.
And it's just, what's been happening is they're just been charging us every
Yeah,
basically
so
every year.
yeah.
And it's not loads of money, but it's just chipping away at
No, it's
the
still negative, right? It's you want to get it
yeah.
positive, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, so what essentially we want to do is we want to try, we want to, try go down the rent to rent process. We know a few people who've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, literally some dudes who live a couple of doors down from me, they've done it.
In Dubai.
Um, they haven't done it in Dubai. They've done it in the UK.
Okay.
One of them's done a lot of them in Kent.
Okay.
Um, and somewhere else I can't remember. But like for us, we're
Mhm.
like, okay, let's try.
Yeah,
That's all we can try, give it a go.
of
So
course,
that's
of
what
course,
we
and
want.
of course, I fully appreciate where you're at. Um, Sometimes it can take some time. People do procrastinate sometimes, and I've spoken to many people who've been at that stage where they've just set the company up or they've just opened a business account and they haven't quite gone and done the next steps, got the business off the ground. It's very common. I've helped many people in that situation before. It's just a case of knowing what to do next, and then having like an actual plan that you can implement. Um, and the fact that you're willing to try is great. But you know, we're not sort of throwing caution to the wind here. It's we can guarantee the result if you do the work necessary, and it's about having like maybe a couple hours a day to put into it for a sustained period of time. You know, our program sort of guarantees people 1 to 3 rent to rents in 6 months, but we do have people that have done it sooner. I'm working with a lady at the moment. She's a teacher based in Walsall in England, and she's got her first deal in 7 weeks from working with us, which is probably our best story yet. We speak every day on WhatsApp, so it's like been
Nice.
quite intense, but it's good. She's I'd say we're pretty much friends now, but yeah, it can happen as quick as the person implementing what I teach does the work, you know. She's just taken on her second deal, well, agreed her second deal now, which is great. That's like 2 deals in 10 weeks. And the main difference between her and some of the other students is just the hunger and the amount of effort and time she's put into it. And it is going to take around a couple hours a day, whether that be calling agents, calling landlords, organizing viewings, things like that. I don't know how you'd organize that remotely from where you are. We'd have to figure that out. You
Mm.
can send people to go on viewings and stuff like that. That's something that we've done in the past, but I would sort of prefer you to view them either yourself or have someone that you know and trust to do that for you. Just because some of the companies you can use, they don't always give you the best breakdowns of exactly how the properties are, and at least if it's someone who you know well, you can get right into them and find out the details and maybe get some good videos and pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it can work. It's just you have to do the work, and I can help you and support you, and go through deals with you, analyze deals with you, hold your hand through the whole process basically, and speed you up. It just depends if you're ready and you're at that stage where you really want to make it happen.
Yeah. So I'm just writing down a few things. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
probably
right
would.
down. Yeah, that's same.
Okay. No, look, in the end, like we we know there's going to be challenges for us because obviously where we're based.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it was the same thing when we were, trying to get a property back in Bristol. We were in
Mm-hmm.
Qatar at the time, no, Saudi Arabia, sorry, at the time.
Yeah, yeah,
So, we're already aware that, that's probably the biggest stumbling block for us
yeah,
is presence on the ground.
yeah.
Um, we do have people on the ground
Good,
who not companies who we would pay to go, and it'll be people who know us personally that will
great,
go and these properties for us.
great.
And obviously, it's their time, so we would, cover them for their
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, you have to, right? No one's going to work for free. I think we pay
Mhm.
people like between 40, £50 for a viewing. Sometimes we cover like their expenses as well if they've driven or whatever. We've got a team member that does most of that stuff for us. So
Yeah.
it's just a necessary part of the process, but it's not the bulk of the work. It's just something that needs to happen so you can get good feedback on the property, and then you need to make a decision whether you're going to offer on it. And that's kind of where the main skill set is, like marketing to landlords, presenting an offer to them that's compelling and shows the value in the service and almost is like a no-brainer to them. That's what I'd help you with. You basically be copying exactly what I do in terms of offering normally over email, showing them the value in the service, maybe sending some comparables, so you can sort of back up your offer with the same sort of property like for likes, just to make sure that the price they want in their mind is normally a bit inflated than what it's actually worth, so you can bring them down a little bit and get them to actually agree on the correct price that it's actually worth, while still being
Mm.
fair. And
Yeah.
then obviously your job then is to go and find someone who's going to pay you a premium on top of that, which is all part of the game, and it's very, very doable. It's just a case again of marketing, um, and positioning your property in the right way on the correct platforms. Um,
I know obviously you do a lot of like Airbnb stuff,
mhm,
bookings.com stuff
mhm.
like I've been watching, I watched two of the videos.
Good.
Yes, I can't remember what the dude's name was, but he used to drive an
Oh yeah, yeah, Amit.
Uber Eats or something. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I watched that. I did watch that
Good.
yesterday. In terms of like, sorry, I've got a fridge coming. Sorry.
Multitasking.
In terms of like location, where we should try and position
Hmm.
ourselves.
Hmm.
Is that like is there like somewhere like you through the course or through the process you would say, okay, I think you should try and go in this area, or is it
Hmm.
just wherever you
Yeah.
want to go?
No, that's a good question. Normally people have a few areas in mind, right? Normally it's in their local radius, and then we'll look there initially. We'll do some research together. We'll share the screen and we'll do a bit of market research together, like on a Zoom call like we are now.
Okay.
Try and dig into the numbers a little bit and look at the demand and the supply. If it doesn't look like that would be the best area, then we do tend to maybe look half an hour away from there in sort of a circle radius.
Mhm.
Um, but ultimately, there's going to be opportunities all over, and 9 times out of 10, where people choose is where we start. Um, I've got people all over the UK that are doing well from it, from Newcastle down to like Southampton and Portsmouth, places like that. So it definitely works in most places where there's people, there's jobs, there's developments happening. There's always going to be old, sort of tired properties and landlords who are at that stage where they're looking to sort of relinquish the responsibility of management to someone with a bit more energy, a bit more enthusiasm, someone who's a bit better at sort of marketing and running their property as a business rather than sort of like a hobby part-time thing.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a case of connecting the dots. That would be sort of the first few calls that we'd do together where we'd locate the area and narrow down on maybe one or two key areas. And then we'd start going to work and actually arranging some viewings. And then we'd go from there, wherever whoever says yes first, we'd sort of put our flag down there and then try and build around that.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Does make sense. Obviously, you've done a lot in Wales.
Hmm.
We know Wales quite well.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about surrounding areas
Yeah,
to Bristol, the people who we know
yeah,
will be in that area, if not in Bristol, but I
of
think that would
course.
be yeah.
Yeah, there's
So
more
that's
than enough to go around in Wales. So I mean, South Wales is a big area. I can't take them all, right?
oh, you can give us some.
Maybe, I'm speaking to a couple landlords at the moment. I do come across deals every now and again that I think, well, might not be perfect for me, but if there was someone else in the area, then maybe it could work for them. Um, as you develop throughout the business, I guess sometimes your goals change. I can be quite picky now, but when I was in the sort of beginning first couple years, I was taking on some properties that maybe I wouldn't necessarily take on now, but I still made money from them. I still turned them from sort of ugly ducklings into swans, so to speak, and made them make some money. So those opportunities do come up sometimes.
I know when I spoke to you, when I not spoke to you, when I listened to one of the videos, I
Hmm.
think you spoke about your first one or so. It might have been
Yeah.
Amit, I'm not even sure, but
Yeah.
essentially, you know, you've made an offer, it's been accepted, and now you
Hmm.
need to do some work on that property to, give it a light refurbish,
Hmm.
essentially make it look pretty,
Yeah.
and obviously put the furniture in there.
Yeah.
Like the way I'm seeing this thing,
Hmm.
um, I want it to be as much of a business as possible. I don't
Sure.
paint. I don't paint. I don't wash. I don't do none of those types of things. I
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't want to get into that mentality
No. No.
or
No.
position myself in that space.
No. 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 Yeah.
Is this something that you can assist us with during this process in terms
Yeah.
of like guidance?
Absolutely.
For example,
Yeah. Absolutely.
if we chose Wales as our place,
Yeah.
you're the Wales guy. You know Wales
South
like
Wales.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's South Wales, sorry, you know that like nothing. So it might be a
Yeah.
case of, well, we're in your area. This is my
Yeah.
guy. Or like not
Yeah.
necessarily like that, but
Yeah.
you get what I'm coming from,
Of
right?
course, of course, of course. Listen, I understand totally what you're saying. As I said, like initially in the beginning, when I was first starting the business, it was very much bootstrapped. I didn't have loads of money to get started, so I was getting my hands dirty and turning my hand to anything that I could, calling in favors. That's kind of how it works in the beginning. Even some of my students now, they're doing the same thing, calling in favors, friends and family. But ultimately, you want to build it to a place where it's a business, like you say, and you can be hands off with it. Like that's where you want to get to. That's the goal. And normally, once you get a couple under your belt, you've got enough coming in from those to start outsourcing certain tasks to people and making it like a passive business. I've got contacts that you could use for sure. Like we're in London at the moment, and even some of my own houses now. We've just bought another one, and I've got someone going and collecting the keys from the estate agent, and then they're going to go and price up some bits and bobs that need to be done to the bathroom and some new carpets and things like that. So yes, I've got people that could make it hands off for you. They're not people that work exclusively for us, but they're like people that I trust and people that I've worked with in the past. So I could definitely recommend some people. But ultimately, how we found those people is just by marketing the job, the same way you would market the service. You market the tasks that need doing. You try and make them sound a bit more appealing than just sort of typical labor. You try and make it sound like more of a relationship and try and attract the better people.
Mm.
Yeah, marketing on certain platforms, Checker Trade, My Builder, even Indeed, and certain platforms like that. And it's just a filter process of going through the good ones and trying to get rid of any of the bad ones. Maybe you'll shortlist a few and give them small tasks to do and see how they get on, and then pick the best one type of thing. So yes, I think that's definitely the right avenue to go down. You don't want to be stuck trying to do paint and decorating when you should really be focusing on marketing and selling, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, Luke. Yeah, now you've answered all my questions.
Yeah.
Do you have like, for example, I guess if you go on the course, I'll get this information.
Hmm.
You, I've made an offer.
Hmm.
I've made an offer to a landlord.
Hmm.
He's like, yeah, great. We can do this. Do they have like clauses in these contracts?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. We
3
do.
months, 6 month clauses,
Yeah,
that
so
type.
even us, like the most recent deal we did, because the landlord was really apprehensive when I first spoke to him, right? Because I approached him on Gumtree and he'd heard some horror stories in the past of rent to rent nightmares and Airbnbs being trashed and things like that. So he was very apprehensive in the beginning. And because it was actually a new area that I haven't worked in before in South Wales, I was a little bit apprehensive as well, right? So
Mm,
I thought the best way to sort of smooth that over and make it fair for both of us was to put in like a 6 month break clause. So I put that into the contract so both parties could end the agreement at the 6 month point if it wasn't working out, just so that my back was covered as well, you know, because I was still, as much research as you can do, there's always a point where it's like, okay, I've got to sort of take a calculated risk here.
okay.
Um, so at 6 months, if it wasn't working, we agreed that we'd pay month seven. Well, we give notice at month six, and then we'd pay month seven and month eight, and then leave basically. So we'd
Got you.
give
So
2 months notice
agreements.
at month six,
Yeah.
yeah. And he was happy with that. He doesn't live in South Wales. He lives elsewhere, like an hour and a half away. So he was just happy for us to come in and do what we need to do with the property. And if it wasn't working out for whatever reason, he liked the reassurance of knowing that it could end in at the 6 month point, from both ways, you know. So
Mm,
I think yeah, it's good to put a clause in. My student Aman, she's done the same thing with her first deal, just to make both parties feel comfortable. But ultimately, you know, you want it to be a long-term agreement so you can really make that profit, you know, like it normally takes a few months to get your money back. Sometimes 6 months is the cut-off point where I'd say you need to be making all of your initial investment back. Um,
mm,
so not much has normally happened in that period, you know, in terms of like you can't always see how amazing it's going, but if you've pretty much paid back your initial investment at that point, then that's normally a good indication that it's going to be a good deal. And then for the next 2.5 years or 4.5 years, depending on how long the deal is, you should be pretty much all in profit, you know, give or take some void periods here or there. But with the proactive marketing that we do, you should have another person lined up before you've even got an empty room, or another company or group lined up before you have an empty house, you know? And that's
okay.
something that we'll show you how to do.
Amazing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Luke. Amazing.
No problem, my friend. It's been good speaking to you.
Yes. Yes. Appreciate your time.
Cheers,
Thank
Basil.
you.
Take care, mate. Bye. Bye.